Intro music fades in and then Hode. Today, I'd really like to introduce Naruto-san's newsletter and just dive a bit deeper into some of his ideas.
Oh, fantastic. Naruto-san is that thinker who always shares such unique perspectives on, the future of the planet, soul growth, and how to live in this new AI era, right?
That's the one. And yes, he's actually published 10 books so far. So let's unpack what he has to say. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with this idea of a world without solids, that feeling that nothing is stable anymore. Then we'll look at why it feels like our whole reality is cracking. After that, we'll get into the real danger of not thinking for ourselves, explore the 3 paths we can choose, and finally wrap up with what Naruto calls an invitation to awaken.
All right, so first things first. To really get what Naruto is saying, we have to start with a concept he uses from the sociologist Zygmunt Bauman. It's called liquid modernity, and it's pretty much the key to that feeling of instability we all seem to have these days.
This is about more than just things changing fast. Bauman's idea, which Naruto really runs with, is that the actual containers of our lives have basically melted. I mean, think about it. A job for life, stable communities, even clear moral rules, all those things that used to be solid ground, they're now more like water, and it's left us all feeling a bit adrift.
Exactly. And as author Naruto points out, this has a massive psychological effect. When nothing is fixed, it becomes super easy to just pass the buck. It's the company's fault or the government's or just the system. In a world where nothing is solid, we can always say, well, I didn't have a choice, and avoid taking real responsibility for our actions. And that feeling of everything turning to liquid leads right into the second big idea. Naruto connects this instability to Thomas Kuhn's concept of a paradigm shift. It's a way of explaining why our entire understanding of the world feels like it's completely breaking apart.
Right, we like to imagine progress as this nice, smooth line going up. But Kuhn showed that's not how it works, especially in science. It happens in these sudden, jarring ruptures. An old model works for a while, but then weird results, anomalies, start piling up until the whole thing just collapses. Naruto says that's what's happening to society right now. All these crises, inequality, conflict, AI, they're the anomalies that our old way of seeing the world just can't handle anymore. And this is where author Naruto gives us this really powerful new way to look at the crisis. He says, look, when our old maps don't work, reality itself forces us to draw a new one. All these problems are just the things we've been trying to ignore finally bubbling up to the surface. And this is key, he doesn't see it as a disaster. He sees it as a wake-up call. Reality is literally shaking us and telling us to open our eyes.
So, you've got this liquid society dissolving our sense of responsibility and a collapsing paradigm that's making everyone anxious. That brings us to the third thinker Naruto weaves into his argument, Hannah Arendt. Her work on the banality of evil shows us the very personal danger that pops up in these chaotic times. Man, this concept is just so chilling. Arendt was watching the trial of this high-ranking Nazi official, and she realized something terrifying. The guy wasn't a monster. He was shockingly normal. His evil wasn't born from some deep, passionate hatred. It came from a complete lack of thinking. He was just following the rules, doing his job. Naruto argues that this state, this not thinking, just handing over your judgment to someone else, is what enables so much harm in our world. Okay, so let's tie these 3 big ideas together. First, with Bauman's liquid modernity, our personal sense of responsibility starts to just dissolve. Then, as Kuhn's paradigm shift hits, all the old rules and certainties we counted on just collapse, which creates a ton of fear and confusion. And in that fear, what do people want? Easy answers. They look for someone, anyone, to tell them what to believe and what to do. And the active process of thinking for yourself just stops. And now you can see Naruto's whole argument laid out. It's a frighteningly logical chain of events. The liquid society makes us feel less responsible. The paradigm collapse makes us afraid. Our fear makes us stop thinking and just look for orders. And by just conforming, by trying to be safe and normal, regular people can end up doing terrible things. This, he says, is the hidden danger of our modern age. So that's the problem. It's a pretty stark picture. But Naruto doesn't just leave us there. He says this situation actually presents each and every one of us with a critical choice. He lays out 3 very different paths that we can choose to walk. Path number 1 is conformity. It's the easiest option by far. Just stop thinking, do what you're told, go with the flow. But as we just saw, that leads directly to banal evil. Path number 2 is rebellion.
Now, this looks like the opposite, but Naruto says it's often just another gut reaction. It's driven by anger and fear, not real thought, and its outcome is usually just more chaos and destruction.
And that leaves us with the third path, conscious thought. As author Naruto says, this is the hardest path. Why? Because no one gives you the answers. You have to embrace the uncertainty and really commit to thinking for yourself, which can be really uncomfortable. There's no instruction manual. But, he argues, it is the only way to actually live as a true, authentic human being. And this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, and honestly, it might be the most powerful part of Naruto's whole analysis. After laying all this out, he gives us a profound way to completely reframe the era we're all living through. Yeah, so here's the last big choice Naruto puts in front of us. The old authorities, whether it's governments or traditions or institutions, they just don't have the answers for us anymore. We're being forced to think for ourselves. Now, we can look at that as a cruel, terrible thing, like we've been thrown into a chaotic ocean with no life raft, or we could see it as an incredible moment of liberation. And how we choose to see it? Well, that might be the most important choice we make.
This quote from author Naruto just says it all, doesn't it? The idea is that we're not being punished here. We are being invited to stop looking outside for answers and start listening to our own inner wisdom. It's an invitation to stop just going along with the crowd and to really truly start living.
And so, I'd like to conclude by posing one question to everyone, a question that gets to the very heart of Naruto's philosophy for our time. In this age of awakening, as the old world dissolves all around us, will you accept the invitation?